Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast studio here on the show floor for the Robotics Summit 2025. I'm Mike Oitzman, Senior Editor for the Robot Report, and very excited this morning to be sitting down with Laura Major. She's the interim CEO and CTO for Motional. And Laura, it's been, I think, a while since you and I were together on stage at CES.
Yes.
That was a wonderful conversation a year ago. And I'm excited to have you back to check in with what's going on at Motional, because you guys are really accelerating now, pardon the pun, forward with your robotaxi service. But let's start with what just happened this morning for you. You were really the reason that we had our Women in Robotics event this morning.
Thank
you were
you.
the featured speaker. You were on stage with Joyce from Mass Robotics. So just tell me a little bit about that experience. I got a chance to watch a little bit of it, but from when I left, you guys were having a great conversation on stage.
Yeah, we were. It was a full room,
Yeah,
and a really engaged audience. We had some really smart questions, and good discussion about everything from my career and how I ended up in engineering and in autonomous vehicles to what's happening in AI and the autonomous vehicle world. Mm-hmm. So it's a great discussion, a lot of good questions.
Yeah, and I think on that note, again, in your career now, you have been a technical leader as CTO at Motional, and now stepping into the role of interim CEO. So that's, again, another great boost, and I think well-deserved and respective of the skill set that you bring. So tell me a bit how that has been a part of the transition in your career now, and what does it mean to sort of move from a technical leadership now to business leadership?
Yeah, great question. I was a little nervous when I took it on, to be honest. Yeah. I've spent a lot of time leading technical teams and building, a lot of AI and autonomy products, but taking on the CEO role, I wasn't quite sure how that would go, but it turned out, I think my engineering, problem solving skills applied, corporate wide, and my ability to kind of think about the, not just the, one dimension of the technology, but what's the product that we're building, what's the impact to users, and to the industry, has really, I think, helped me to kind of shape it, our vision going forward, and allowed me to position us for the next chapter.
Well, let's talk about where you guys are on your roadmap now to rolling out the service. So can you recap for us where you guys are deploying the service today, and sort of what's the state of that and the availability for the public, and as well as some of your private beta? So just give me us an update on where you are.
Yeah, so as you know, we've had a number of pilot activities in Las Vegas with Robotaxi, in Santa Monica with meal delivery with Uber Eats. But over the last year, we kind of de-emphasized the commercial activity so we could focus a little more on the technology.
Okay.
And that was because there's so much that's happened in the AI technology space.
Yeah.
There's been a huge disruption really in AI and a huge boost in performance that's occurred with all the move to transformer architectures to to Gen AI. And so, we decided to put more resources on focusing on how to harness all that technology to position our AV not only to perform well and safely, but also to be ready to scale, in a more cost efficient way to more cities, more neighborhoods, more use cases.
Now, again, it's a little bit of a joke for us on the journalism side that next year AVs will become real. And we kept saying next year. And I think now that next year is arriving now.
That's right.
And it's interesting that you bring up all of the advancements that have happened with AI. And again, coming from the product side, managing the product roadmap, managing the technology development now, and stepping into the business side, what sort of investments have you made internally on the team? And again, for folks that are listening, the skill sets that is there a change in sort of the skill sets that you're looking at, the experience that you look for from an AI perspective that you want to sort of transition your development team, or has it just been sort of chugging forward on the same path?
Yeah, so our stack, our AV stack, is machine learning first, and so we've always needed AI, skill set and expertise in development of the software on the stack. But I think the big change that's been happening is that AI is now also transforming offboard software.
Oh yeah.
Right, just like in every industry, right? We're seeing AI come in to solve lots of different problems. So for us, that means developing AI solutions to find the long tail problem, find those rare events that are really, required when you pull the driver out of the vehicle. And so I think more and more you see. Or we've been moving to using more AI expertise, not just on the car, but also off the car.
Is it fair to say that AVs have a little bit of the Pareto problem, the 80-20%? You've got the 80% has been super part, and now all those long tail situations you deal with or are dealing with. Some of the things you talked about, how you're recreating or creating new experiences for the public in the vehicle for those types of interactions that we take for granted with a human taxi driver, that you now have to infer the patient's comfort is in the vehicle, or discomfort in the vehicle, or emergency situations.
That's right. Absolutely. That's the real hard work. Like you said, the 80% solution, we got there a while ago.
Yeah.
It's that long tail. It's the time, when somebody approaches the car, opens the door, and then drops, their wallet on the ground and has to reach under the car to pick it up. Being able to detect those things robustly. It's about not only, being safe around other cars, but also being smooth. So if a car is, going to potentially cut in front of you, it's about smoothly giving enough space for that car to do it, rather than overreacting in a way that may be safe but may actually be uncomfortable for the passenger. Those are the hard problems. Being able to solve for both. Those really challenging situations when somebody does something unexpected, makes a cuts across 3 lanes of traffic at once and then does a quick right turn. But being able to safely handle that while also being smooth and handling all the other times when someone doesn't do that.
Let's come back to the roadmap for deployment. You talked about the public, not quite public, private rollout that you've done in Las Vegas. And what are some of the other cities then that you are deployed in now, and how are you rolling that out?
Yeah, so we're focused in 2 cities at the moment, and we chose 2 cities strategically that are very complementary. They're different. So we're in Las Vegas, which is a modern city, has a lot of density of traffic, a lot of tourists, a lot of pedestrians, and a lot of pedestrians and vehicles that are interacting in the same area. The Las Vegas Boulevard
taxi population, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then our second city that we're currently operating in is Pittsburgh, which is a very different kind of city. It's an older city. It has a lot of hills, a lot of bridges, tunnels, and not a grid-like kind of layout of the streets. And also a wider range of weather activity. So we think by operating in these 2 areas, we really get a diversity of experiences, a diversity in the data we collect and the testing that we do, which helps us to build a generalizable solution. So if you see people operating in cities that are similar, that can create a faster path to get to multiple cities at once, but it doesn't necessarily help you in creating the technology that's needed to scale.
And again, it's a private beta. Is that a good way to characterize where you are? You're letting your employees internal
autonomous testing that we're doing now, and our employees ride in the car.
And then you're able to get some good, honest feedback about the experience, and maybe even prepare them for changes you've deployed, features you've deployed, and how they experience that.
That's right. We deploy new software on the road, several times a week. And so we get a lot of great feedback, both from the test engineers that ride in the car, also from other stakeholders that ride in the car, but then also, rigorous review of log data and using, AI to find some interesting things that happen on the road, so that we can dive deeper into those areas, maybe create simulation scenarios around similar types of challenges, use that data to find more data that also could present a challenge in the future. so that we can train the models to be robust across those situations. So we get a lot of great learnings from our testing on the road today.
Since you mentioned simulation, another piece of technology that I think has evolved very quickly in the last probably 4 or 5 years. Yeah. How are you guys using simulation, and how is that maybe shortening your development cycle or your testing, regression testing in simulation? Is it where you need it to be? Are there still features you want to see evolve?
There are always more features that we'd like to see. We'd love to have a virtual world that represents as close to possible the real world.
Yeah.
So it's there are no sort of perfect solutions, but it's an important tool that we use in our overall development and test process.
Mm-hmm.
So our strategy is to what we call shift learning to the left. We try to bring as many of these tools close to the developer as possible.
Okay.
So the earlier they can try their latest code development in a simulation scenario, or a set of simulation scenarios that maybe represent some of the hardest challenges we've ever seen on the road in the last many years, that can allow us to make sure that we're building the solution that maybe addresses 80% of the problem we were trying to solve, but also gets at those edge cases and also solves them well. And through a lot of that early experimentation and really empowering the developers to have those tools, in ways that they can use them, that's really critical to accelerating progress.
Are you finding that the simulation of sensor data, LiDAR data, the camera data, gives the fidelity that your developers require to actually give a true test of what they're trying to do from sensor fusion?
Yeah,
or those type of
it's
cases?
not enough. Like I said, it's it's a tool, one of many tools. So we use a variety of different simulation capabilities, but we also pair that with public road testing, closed course testing, public road data collection of even areas maybe we don't operate in, maybe near a hospital where you might see more wheelchairs, or near a school where you might see more children. And so we combine all of that together to really build a robust way of, developing our software, learning, making sure that it's safe.
And then on the AI side, again, I sort of talk about the half-life of AI in sort of the 6 months increments now that we're starting stepwise improvements.
That's right.
What's been your experience from the AI that you guys are developing, or some of the other general principles that you're seeing in robotics that you're able to bring into your development process?
Yeah, it's definitely a significant step function, kind of change in performance that it's enabling across many different tasks. Like I said, both on the car and off the car, and so we're using it and embracing a lot of these changes, very rigorously across our different workflows. But on the car, I think. We're seeing AI really start to unlock the ability to have these bigger models, bigger foundation type models where you have more efficient training. So you can train the models, much faster across many more scenarios than earlier in the stage when we had many different models. So we see a lot of boost, and then you can gain a lot more performance improvements by having this more efficient training cycle. Off the car, we see AI really helping us to be able to let engineers focus on the creative part of the problem, and let AI help them find those nuggets across all the data we collect, all the testing we do, so that they can get to the right data faster, and then they can focus on what's the solution to the problem.
That's wild. Another emerging piece of technology underneath of all you're doing, from the user experience and the intelligence of the vehicle, now your relationship with the new Ionic electric platform,
That's right.
as opposed to the gas or I don't know what other technology. Talk a little bit about what that potentially means for your capabilities, if any, what new capabilities that enables, or just makes the whole business model more efficient from an electric perspective. But is that, I imagine that's got to bring a few changes into your
Definitely.
roadmap.
Yeah, I mean, I think AVs offer that opportunity to accelerate the path to electrification. And certainly, from the operation of the fleet standpoint, being able to charge and prepare the vehicles and maintain the vehicles even, it really makes a dramatic improvement. So it's really important, I think, for our current AV to be based on an electric platform.
And today it's gas in the current, what?
No, we're on the Ioniq 5
Oh,
today.
So, okay.
Yes.
Great.
That is our current platform.
Huh. And so again, you'll be able to have charging stations in some arrangement around the operating range.
Yeah, we have a depot, where our cars, are stationed, and there's charging all throughout the depot, where we can both charge and get data off the car very efficiently. And then the cars go out and, do their autonomous driving and come back in to the depot for a recharge. But as you can imagine, you can also position charging, around a city or in different locations as needed to keep the cars, on the road as much as possible.
Now, on the regulatory side, again, it's been one of the other hurdles that autonomous vehicles have had to come over. It sort of feels like those have come down now in the last couple of years. Are you working at all from the public safety side and working with local, state, and local governments to remove any hurdles? I mean, California seems to be one of the bigger hurdles in some of the autonomous vehicle technology, but there's other states that are less regulated, Texas and I guess Nevada. But are you guys working there as an industry? Are there any other hurdles that still exist to deployment of the technology going forward?
Yeah, so today the regulatory framework really varies state by state, as you mentioned. So some states like California have a very detailed process to remove the driver and to prepare for putting consumers in the car. In other states, it's different. There might be more self-certification, and then some states don't allow it at all.
Right.
So there's a lot of variety. I think, though, as we progress in the industry, the safety statistics are really proving out that there is an opportunity to reduce the number of fatalities on the road and really improve the safety of our transportation system.
So for all the focus that we've talked about, what does it mean to not have a driver? The fact is it's saving lives in the top level numbers.
That's our focus. That's right, is to save lives. And our safety record is very strong. No at-fault accidents ever in over 2 million miles. Yeah. So, I think there's a real opportunity there. So, we do. And your question on partnering, we do partner with like local and state officials. We really try to work with the community that we operate in to hear their feedback, give them a chance to take rides and understand the technology and help us think through how to best, deploy and position, the autonomous cars in their community to serve the transportation needs that are maybe unmet.
Well, great. Well, hey, it's been fun to catch up with you. I love catching up like this. And so I want to thank you both for coming out and being a big part of our Women in Robotics event this morning and coming on the show and catching up. So, so again, thank you. Best of luck. And I look forward to the opportunity to take a ride here when the opportunity arises to take a ride the next time in Vegas.
We welcome you.
So, all right. So thank you guys for tuning in. I want to remind you to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.